Roll it.
Episode 39.
My
We're
phone's
on.
going to die. That's okay, though. Oh, I didn't bring water.
Ah, shit.
It's all right.
All right, start over.
Welcome back to the Volley House podcast. We're here at Colca Studios. Need a firehouse built or renovated? Give them a call. Ryan's not here. Phil's on the sticks today.
Philip's back.
Go to volleyhousepodcast.com to ask us questions or send in stories or videos you'd like us to review. Also, give us a follow on all social media platforms at Volley House Podcast. And also visit the website. We got some Halloween merch and our other merch. Use code Halloween for 10% off, right?
I think so.
I think it's 10, yeah.
Yeah.
We got to get some new stuff up there, too.
Yeah.
We got to
Yeah.
add some stuff.
Oh, yeah. Let's get...
You know what's nice? See Richardson hats. A lot of people use Richardson hats.
Yeah, the trucker hats.
Yeah.
I love them.
yeah?
Yeah, maybe we'll do those.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
The winter hats that we have on there are good, though.
Yeah, they are.
That we currently have on there.
I got to get another
And
one.
honestly, the sweatshirts are nice, too. You might have to order them a size up, though.
Why they were on small?
I think.
Yeah.
I think I got an XL, and it fits like a little bit of an oversized large.
Yeah, I
So-
bought a large T-shirt, and it was a little tight, so I got an extra large.
I think I have an XL, too.
Let's get into our sponsors for today. We'll start with Command Fire Apparatus. Need a reliable fire truck? Have a surplus fire truck to sell? At Command Fire Apparatus, they specialize in high-quality used fire trucks ready for your department. They're not brokers. They buy, refurbish, and sell directly to you. From pumpers to ladder trucks, they have what you need, and they pride themselves on delivering a truck to you that is ready to go in service. Join the many satisfied departments that trust them for their fire apparatus needs. Experience stress-free selling and buying today. Visit sellfiretrucks.com or call 866-238-6688. Your next fire truck is just a click away. Command Fire Apparatus is a firefighter-owned and managed company. And also, iCommand Board. Every video we see from a career department incident shows an incident command board on scene. Yet, in many NIOSH LODD reports, a recurring finding is the lack of proper incident command. As a chief in the volunteer fire service, your responsibility is to ensure the safety of everyone operating at every incident. Gone are the days of managing this in your head or on a simple whiteboard. The owner of iCommand Board, Volunteer Fire Chief, took this challenge head on by developing a professional tool tailored for volunteer fire officers. These command boards are designed with size, affordability, and most importantly, accountability at the forefront. Packed with critical information and checklists, they're built to help you stay organized and focused at every event. Visit iCommandBoard.com today and take the next step in ensuring the safety and success of your department.
Did I do okay this time?
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually just noticed, I think my chiefs were writing on a whiteboard. Just writing.
Bad move.
The night command board. And we
A lot
have
of
some,
units over there.
We have some of his stuff, and there was a lot of units there, yeah. A lot of mutuals. So,
What, today you had a lot of mutual?
Just now.
Just now, yeah. There was some fire and some ductwork, something exploded or collapsed in a ceiling. And we had our ladder, Central Islip's ladder. I think Comac sent an engine. We had 2 engines and a rescue, so it was a little busy.
Automatic aid? Like, is it part of
No,
that?
not automatic. No, he called him in.
Oh, gotcha.
We do have that, but it wasn't a 35. It was just a fire.
Gotcha.
There's a difference, right?
Just a difference.
Well, speaking of which, I mean, I don't have anything for suspended or not today.
I thought you were going to say I have nothing to talk about
Yeah,
today.
got nothing.
No
Well, I will
topics.
wrap
Tyler's
this up.
always got crap to talk about.
Yeah, right.
I got my
I
glasses
haven't
on.
checked the inbox.
Well, we could
We
put,
don't have anything good for suspended or not?
No.
Darn it.
So let's go into job of the week.
We got to get some
and
more
we'll do,
submissions. Frontline Optics. VHP 15 for
Yeah,
15%
we should do something
off.
live.
Let's go,
I was
Kev.
thinking we should do something live.
Yeah, we should.
Do what?
Like maybe not an episode, but like just something. Yeah, something live.
I thought if you honestly, if
Well,
you
the
got
Joey
stuck,
D we're going to do live. We're going to do some Facebook Live.
I thought
and
about it
stuff.
too if I got stuck there.
I was gonna say if me and Kev got here and you were still operating over there, we'd be like, let's
It's a
take
block
ride over
away.
there. Yeah,
we could have ran around the
take a ride
corner and
over
just
there
started
and-
filming.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Um,
Just use your phone at that point. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Job of the week. Go ahead, Kev.
Well, somebody sent us something, right? Didn't they?
Yeah,
what was it?
Thornwood and
Upstate.
Valhalla FD in Westchester, New York, both had second alarm jobs on the same day.
I saw a
that.
picture of one of them. It looked pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody submitted that. I don't know how far from each other those departments are. But,
Not sure. I mean, Westchester's not too big, but I'll take these off.
you had one?
Yeah, we had a little job yesterday. So I'll say it again: duty crews work, in-house duty crew. We actually had extra guys because we also do we call it Truckee Mondays. That's how I started it, as Truckee Mondays for the truck company. But they turned it into also Munchie Mondays. So you don't have to be on crew. You can come down and eat.
You just got to be high.
No, you come down and eat. It's not about getting high.
You gotta smoke weed in the parking lot.
Yeah,
then.
right.
So we had extra guys. So I was out front of the firehouse still. When the run came in, I saw the garage door open. I walk in, and they're like, everybody's jumping on rigs. And I'm like, what's going on? They're like, we got a Delta, maybe a fire. So I'm like, cool. So I drove the tower ladder. So our engine, we had to travel probably a little over 4 miles to get there. It's a pretty far run. It's up by our headquarters. But it turned out right away. I mean, the engine was on the road, I think, in under a minute. But it took them 7 minutes to get uptown. Pulled up first due. The chief got there first, said he had heavy smoke out of the eaves, fire on the second floor, and big house up on a hill, set back from the street. So we knew it was going to be a longer stretch, which kind of already put it in my mind that the tower ladder might not reach. The guys, they stretched the working line off the back, so we have 1 3/4 inch on top of 2 1/4 for long stretches, and it's just a dead bed. So they stretched off the back, up the hill. They got water on the fire very quickly. I think it was under 3 minutes they had the fire knocked down, which was unbelievable from time on scene.
Wow.
But they didn't pick up the hydrant. They went straight in, 750 gallons of water on the rig, so they used less than half a tank. And they put out more than a room and a half of fire, including the attic. So pretty impressive job by the Engine 14 crew. The ladder truck, I pulled up in front. I stopped in the street. I took a kind of look. I'm like, I'm not going to reach this thing. So I looked at the driveway, and it had two light fixtures on either side of the driveway, Belgian block. And I'm like, I think I could squeeze it in there. So I backed it in the driveway, got it up far enough, and was able to set it up and put the ladder in position to reach the house.
Awesome.
So
And you said it was an attic job?
it was a second floor fire in the rear. I don't know what kind of room it was. Arson was investigating afterwards. It actually burnt through the floor. That's how much fire was up there. Yeah, it was out into the hallway at the top of the stairs, a little bit into the bedroom on the other side, the master bedroom. So the guys did a bang-up job. They went right up the stairs, knocked the fire back. Terryville came in, Stony Brook came in, Selden was writ, and everybody did a great job. Pulled the ceilings down and knocked it all down pretty quick.
What time was it at?
It came in at like 6:02 or 6:03. So we do a duty crew from 6 to 10 p.m.
Right on time.
Right on time.
Yeah.
Right on time. Monday nights are pretty good for us lately. But, I wound up climbing the ladder after it was set up, got it into a position, took the windows up top. There was another set of windows on the other side, so I only took one there. It was right over the stairs. So nobody's getting out there. And then myself and a probie went in through the window up onto the second floor. So
Nice, putting 'em
guys
to
were
work.
already up there. The guys did a great job. I mean, I got to say. I mean, if that was a longer response or something else, it probably been a lot worse.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, who had it? Nassau.
Well, NAFCO had a job yesterday or whatever. 2
It's
days
been
ago.
busy. Huntington Manor had one today.
Huntington Manor
yeah,
today.
I saw it.
Detached garage. I
There was a
believe.
couple in Nassau.
Yeah, there was a huge one in Nassau. Burned down that.
Detached garage? Was it detached? I'm asking.
I think so. Yeah,
That's not a job.
I was going pretty good. It made
It's not a job.
I mean, it was right.
What was the
right next to
Nassau
the
one?
house.
There were a couple Nassau
I'm
jobs
trying to
I
think. They had I think it went to like 5 alarms or something like that.
saw. Was it
I could be
Hempstead
wrong
or-
with that.
5 alarms, too.
It was in that strip mall.
Let me see.
It started in a vacuum thing. I can't think of
Huntington
who it is.
Manor was a garage. Oh, there's pictures of Hop Hog's little episode on here already. On the Buff
Really?
Group. Yeah.
I think Rolla was there.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I can't think
What
of
was the other one?
who it was. It was they were there for a while. It was a stubborn job.
Yeah, there was There's something else. Island Park or something?
Maybe that's who it was. Island
Yeah,
Park?
Island Park, second alarm. Yeah, there's one of them. And there was another one I saw, the NAFCO job. And there was another one I thought I saw. Oh, Valley Stream had a working fire in basement.
It's getting busy.
So, yeah, and it, was just starting to get into turning the heat on and the fireplaces and everything else. What is a picture of you? Are you wearing shorts? What is it?
All the people outside.
All those, the evacuation people.
Drill the week.
Drill.
Like I said, I'm going to NASA. I think next week.
Yeah, the garden department.
Yeah, that's a good one. I haven't been there in a while.
We did a roof op saw drill the other day. We did a Monday morning department training again. So we had, I think like 8 or 9 members showed up, which was pretty good.
You have a roof prop?
Yeah, well, we just kind of built it pretty quick out of pallets and threw some plywood on top. It was pretty simple. There's a little hill in the back, so we put it on a slight angle. It was actually a little wet, which was good, but we went over like sticking a Halligan in the roof and using it for a foothold, and got used to using the saw and cutting through. We had 3/4 inch plywood and OSB up there. But everybody got a turn just dipping the saw in, cutting for a little bit, and then we went across, showed how to do all the different types of cuts.
Actually, this week's
So
good
it was
for
really
us.
good. And
I'm sorry.
yeah, no,
We have a Suffolk extrication at our headquarters. One of the guys is coming to us on Sunday.
the fire kind of coming to you guys.
Yeah,
Right?
so that's Sunday, and then Tuesday we're going to Nassau. So we got 2 this week. 2
Nice.
And then we got the Brookhaven Technical Rescue Task Force is all going to be doing a drill together. Selden's hosting. They usually do in October, but they're going to do a trench drill. So we'll do a live trench.
How many departments part of that?
There's 10 or 11, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But usually we invite, even, like Lakeland will come over, or somebody from some of the other teams will stop by.
Right.
But they'll do a live trench, so they'll do all of that. That's always a good drill.
Where were you, in the Hudson Valley or something, doing tech rescue stuff?
Oh, I was in Jersey Sunday. Yeah.
Jersey? Yeah.
So we did a class, and there's a couple of them listen to the show, which was great. One of the guys is like, "You're the podcast guy." Yeah.
No, I just.
But yeah, so it's the East Bergen Rappel Team. It's made up of Fort Lee Fire Department and why can't I remember this now? But anyway, we're going over they just bought the Arizona Vortex, so we were going over how to use it. So we're going off the cliffs, off the Palisade, basically right off the Hudson there.
Oh, wow.
So it's right off the Palisades Parkway. So
The volunteer departments?
volunteer departments. Yep.
So what was the exercise if someone falls down a cliff?
Yeah, so they get a lot of people either jump, fall, or anything else over there. So they have to
So
go
what,
down
you
and
set
get
up
'em.
like a high point, someone repels
Yeah,
down?
so the Vortex is you can turn it into a tripod or, just a high point, put it on the edge and set it up with some rope tiebacks, and you can kind of use it as a high point going over the edge. So
It's reverse mountain climbing.
I know.
yeah, so they went down. We were sending people down. We were lowering them down, bringing them back up. Then we sent the Stokes basket over, and
I
back
think
up.
like two years ago, Smithtown Fire Department used that same technique in a sump for an injury, and I want to say it was kid maybe sledding or something like that, like broke his leg or whatever.
a lake? I think I don't know.
No, it was like a super like steep sump, and they utilized that technique to get the kid out properly.
I mean, North Shore, Long Island, there's a lot of departments that train in like low angle rescue, like Centerport, Stony Brook, Port Jeff. We have a lot of bluffs on the North Shore.
Well,
So, people walk along or try to climb on and fall down, get
do
hurt.
you know
and gotta get 'em
Callahan
out.
Beach in Kingsport?
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
So we went there years ago. Me and a bunch of my friends camped out, and we were having some beers. And this one kid walked to go take a piss,
Fell down?
standing on the cliff, and fell down. And everyone was like, "Where's Tom? Like we haven't seen him in a while." And then he shows up like 45 minutes later, just all cut up. We're like, "What the fuck happened to you?" He's like, "Oh, I lost my footing and fell right down the fucking
I
cliff."
bet you did. Those bluffs, some of them are pretty high, and they're very steep.
They're
Yeah.
super steep.
You wouldn't think it, but, you're on an island, but the North Shore is very hilly.
Oh,
You
yeah.
wanna know something? I was in Grenada, the country Grenada. My friend went to medical school there, and there's these. I think it's called the Seven Sisters Falls. There's 7 waterfalls, So we went to the biggest one. People jump off. There's a big area you can jump off and jump into the water. But the way up is like freaking some Tarzan shit. You got to climb up. So like say the waterfall's here. You need to climb around like far right and like literally climb straight up. Like climbing on roots and branches and trees. Like I felt like I'm like covered in mud. It felt good.
It felt good. It felt good.
But once you get to the top, so you actually have to climb a little bit higher than the top of the waterfall. So you climb like this, and then you kind of got to do like a little hop down to the top of the waterfall. And we were saying, we're like, we just climbed up here. We're like, even if you are too scared to jump, you cannot go back the way
you're
we just
jumping.
came.
Yeah.
Like you're jumping.
You're
no
jumping
matter what.
regardless.
Yeah.
And all four of us, it was me, two friends, and his girlfriend, or fiance, wife, whatever she is. And it was fucking crazy. It was high. It was like 50 feet.
I was just gonna ask.
Yeah,
How,
it was a 50-foot waterfall, and we got up top, and I'm like, "We're supposed to jump now." Like
That's-
after that, we're supposed to jump.
that's crazy,
But
man.
I mean,
You know, a lot of people get themselves into problems or trouble because they don't know the dangers, or they climb in a tree, they can't get down, call for the fire department or tech rescue, or there's just so many hazards out there that people are just, especially civilians, are totally unaware of,
Yep. And
like
in this-
confined spaces.
In this situation, if you fell and got hurt, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You are absolutely fucked.
Well, I mean, where I was, like I said, on Sunday, some of those areas, man, it's straight down. It's pretty far.
Yeah.
I mean, I sent you a couple pictures of,
yeah.
Even
They're
the
pretty
picture
far
you
drops.
sent, yeah.
they're pretty far
And
drops.
it's a lot of rock too. It's
Lot
not
of
just
rock.
like sand like we have on the bluffs.
Yep.
Or even the high angle rescues at the Kings Park Psychiatric Center. Mm-hmm. Kids go run around in there, and they
Yep.
go out to that one balcony, and that door shuts behind them. They get locked out, and they're just sitting on the balcony, and then they got to call the fire
Well,
department.
they had a
to come get
rescue
them
off a roof over there, like, not too long ago.
Yeah, yeah.
These things happen.
So let's get into some topics here.
Got a lot of topics.
Yeah, the first one, and I don't know if this is one and the same of the people that reached out to you, Kev, but this was also a comment on the Facebook post that we put up. The critical role of the senior man in the firehouse, and why some people think that it might be declining a little bit. What are your thoughts?
There's a lot of reasons for that. I think people are different now. It's very difficult for some people to maintain proficiency when they get older. It's not the old days. So most of the senior guys start going towards exterior firefighter or fire police. And then, once they get into that fire police side of it, you get regular firefighters like, well, he's not a firefighter, where years ago, everybody was a firefighter, regardless of, it was just different, let's just say. Guys held on. And, there are still a lot of departments that have guys that are still very involved as very senior people. And then there's other departments that they're not. So, it's an important role. It's important to look up to, the people that have been there a long time, that started the organization or moved the organization forward. And you have to respect these people. But, there are a lot of, and I don't want to, I'm not putting anybody down or anything else, but younger people that don't respect the older people anymore. And I think that's kind of across the country. People just don't respect people anymore the way they used to. When an older person used to talk, everybody listened. Nowadays, they're like, that's just some old guy, talking.
It's so interesting because I know
I think social media created that.
100%.
I think
agree
it
with
did.
that.
I think it created a lot of that,
But
the animosity amongst people and everything else. And, you can learn a lot from older senior members, regardless. And, listen, they're not always right. We're not always right. Everybody, but they've been around. They know a lot of history. If you sit down with an older person, if your department that's been around, they can talk about things and stories of things that have happened in the past or where they came from, or, like even when I joined, I still think I'm a young guy. I'm really not anymore. But, like I look at where we started or when I joined the fire department, open cab trucks, guys were still riding the back step when I was in the juniors and stuff. Stick shift fire trucks. Every truck was a stick shift. I think we had a couple of automatics at the time. Like you had to drive stick. It's not what it is now. These trucks drive like Cadillacs now. They didn't go as fast. Like things were so different. The equipment was so different.
What's interesting to me, and I'll shout him out. This Jerry Melvin over at Smithtown Fire Department, always buzzing around. You know, short little old guy. He is the senior man at the firehouse, and he told me about his story when he joined. It was brush fire. Literally, a cop told him to go help the fire department put it out, and they gave him an application, and he's been in ever since. But what's funny with him is every now and then you'll see him on the fire police rig, but a lot of the time he still gets on the truck, still gets on the ladder, the rescue. Yeah, and he's always smoking a pipe. And no one says shit to him because they're like, he's the senior man.
Right.
And he's always been involved, always been around, and he still gets on the fucking rig.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously he's an exterior guy now. But just like those are the people that I love.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we need everybody to help and work. We need every member. Like, you know, at this point in the fire service, the volunteerism is down. We don't get as many people. We don't have as many people joining. We don't have as many people staying. We need every member to be able to come out and respond whenever they can, regardless of your age, time, and even if you don't have to do it, you should want to do it. You should want to go to trainings and learn more. It's super important. But you know, when that respect, you know, some people think, you know, you're not respecting older guys if you're telling them to come out and stuff like that. It's not about that. But like, you know, Smithtown, for example, their park, there's a sign there that says parking for senior man.
Oh yeah, at the river property.
And, you know, and I think that is great. Like, you know, or member of the month parking, stuff like that. Like I see, you know, like that's a thing to work for. You know, that's a thing to go for. You know, the New York City Fire Department, the senior man like runs the downstairs. The officers run the upstairs. And hopefully they handle all the problems before it gets to the officer.
Right.
So, you know, there's downstairs problems and upstairs problems. If it gets to the upstairs, we got a big problem. But the senior man handles the problems downstairs, or whoever the senior man working is, in conjunction with the senior man of the company. And the firehouses should kind of be the same way. You should look to your senior men or senior people. It could be a female or whatever. It doesn't matter. Whoever the senior person is, or the senior people of that company, to look for direction where you want to go and stuff like that. The senior people also have to take a little initiative to make that happen, to get involved and stuff like that. But there should be respect. You should listen. Even if you don't agree with them, they have a lot to offer to you and your department, your company, and everything else. So it's very important that we don't lose that role of that senior man, senior woman, whatever it wants to be, whatever you're going to be. I don't really care. Just look up to your senior people, treat them with respect, and you'll get a lot of respect back in the long term.
Yeah, and I think too.
And your company will be
right
more cohesive.
To Phil's point before, with the social media and just kind of like this new generation of kids that have this attitude or lack of respect, whatnot, I feel that there's senior guys that kind of just take a step back. They're like, there's too much riffraff going on. I don't want to get involved. These kids are assholes. And we've talked about it before, but one of the things that I did with my company was ask the senior guys to come down to drill, not to get in the drill, but we have a couple younger guys. Can you come to the drill and maybe just mentor them, you know, and be like, oh, you know, try holding the hose this way or whatever it may be. Like, get them involved, and you build that camaraderie with that generation and the younger generation, because now it's like you started the conversation at a drill with a younger guy and a senior man. So now there's some rapport there. So now when you go back into the firehouse for dinner or whatever it is, well, now you've already been talking to that guy through the drill. Now you start talking back and forth and build even further rapport and start bridging that gap a little bit.
Yeah. And, you know, with that comes along, and you talked about training, I think it's very important that we utilize more of the senior people to do training. They've been around, they have the experience, they can mentor you good, you know, in a positive light, hopefully. There are some senior people that have a poor attitude now.
Yes,
they want to just go with the flow. And, you know, when, you know, I'm now the chief training officer for my department, and, you know, we have a committee now, and, you know, we've been doing training, and I started contacting some of the senior guys, and I said, hey, you know, I'd like you to get involved in training, and most of them good, positive. They've been helping out, and I had a few just like, oh, I'm not going to tell another senior guy to put his gear on and this and that, and the attitude sometimes, and I I don't need that, I need the positive light. Whether you're an interior, exterior, whatever, senior person, we need to put positive feelings on the members. Positive, whether it's younger, older, doesn't matter. And, it's not about telling people to put gear on anything else. It's about leading by example, putting your gear on, having people see you running drills. Then hopefully they'll look up to you even more. Like these guys know what they're talking about. Not the guy just rides the rig and, smokes a cigarette or whatever the deal is. He's a person that's showing you things. And the senior people need to lead and show these younger guys what to do.
The other part, too, is usually the senior guys. And I'm talking about, like, the guys that have been in, that hit those, like, milestones where they start making fucking banners for them. Like, all this information on the internet and the little tricks that you do or the new technology that's out there to help you perform a job, these guys have all the knowledge of the outside of the box shit to do when you're at a fire. Like the thing that you learn, this is how you do this. Then there's, this technology here that can help you. But these senior guys, they have that knowledge of, if you can't do this, like maybe here's a certain knot, or use this tool to use as a step up to somewhere. Like they have all like those back
little tricks.
Yeah, like those little
or
that
just
you don't hear
easier
about.
ways. I say it all the time. Keep it simple. And the simplest things work. It's not that they don't work. There's newer stuff out there, and there's ways to do it. Even when I was a young fireman, I was like, very gung-ho, like, ripping stuff apart, breaking stuff left and right. And then I started looking at these senior guys, and I'm like, man, they're working a lot slower, and they get the same job done in almost the same time. Why? Because it's all technique. It's about doing it over and over. You get to, and that's why I think training is so important. Like the more you do it, the more more reps you get, the more times you actually drilling, and like I say, every run is a practice run. Practice putting your gear on. Practice taking the tools off the rig. Practice walking around the building. Every time you do that, it's like muscle memory. It's that repetition that it'll make it that much easier for you down the line. So the more we do that, so the senior people have been doing that over and over again. So we got to continue that process. We got to keep that going.
And the other thing too is I see a lot of the senior guys that continue their education.
That's very important
too. A lot of them become like the safety guys on scene. These are guys that have been chief way back in the day, or been an officer or whatever. So they have like that mindset of what to look out for, but they're not running the scene, but they're helping the chief out with the safety type stuff and just keeping an eye on what's going on a little bit. So there's that aspect.
And there's good and bad to the safety side of it, and it's not bashing anybody or anything else, but we're not there to tell people to put their gloves on or put their mask on or their helmet on and stuff like that. You should be looking in the safety world at the bigger picture. What is the ceiling going to fall down, or is there holes in the floor, or the lines are going to get broken or burst lengths, or look at the bigger picture stuff. The small stuff, they should know to wear their gloves. They should know to wear their mask and stuff like that. But we're not there to tell you, you're not wearing your mask, get out, like stuff like that. Look at the bigger picture. Standing in one spot as the safety officer doesn't do the job. You really need to be kind of walking around looking at the overall.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's important to do the role right,
Right.
But continuing education, I think, is extremely important for everyone. Everybody, like I've said this many times, if you took one class a year, like outside of your department, whether it's tech rescue, safety, wilderness survival, I don't care what it is, something. Go take a week-long class, go to FDIC, go to the Joey D seminar, do something other than what your department, get outside your zip code, learn from other people. But just one class a year. You think about how many programs you would have in 10 years if you just went to one class a year, right? Whether it's tech rescue, rescue tech, confined space, or RIT, or officer program, or something. In 10 years' time, you would have 10 different programs that you would have never went to.
Right.
So it's important to play that role. Just like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, Stony Brook University now has a fire brigade, fire department that they're starting up. They had the New York State DEC come in for wilderness search class. So I'm like, I got nothing to do. I'll go. And I went. Like, why not? And I have a lot of search classes. I was on the FEMA team. I was I took technical search. I was a search team manager. Like I took a lot of these programs, and I'm like, why not? Like, let me go. Maybe it's a refresher. I'll learn something new or whatever. And I went. And 4 guys from my department went, and we went through the program. It was an 8-hour day, and we learned some stuff and refreshed. Collected another certificate. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's just knowledge base. Now, if something were to happen, could we use that to our advantage? Yes. So it doesn't hurt. If you see a program, you shouldn't look at trainings for points, just like you shouldn't look at calls for points, right? In the volunteer service, it's all about the quota. Got to make my points. Or there's a minimum amount, I'm going to just make the minimum. No, if you're home, you should go to a training. If you're home, you should go to a call. You should do that as much as you can without ruining your family life and everything else. But you should go to as many programs as possible, many trainings, many calls, because you're going to learn something.
Right.
Each and every time.
Fundraisers. So another person was looking
The good,
for,
bad, and the ugly with fundraisers?
Yeah. I mean,
Fundraisers are tough.
yeah, you got...
They're
What
always
was
tough.
what was the
Somebody was
suggestion?
just looking to get an idea of what everyone else does for fundraisers.
No,
And I
there's
feel
so
like
many.
It's
It's
do
endless.
they-
You
I
can
gotta
literally
look up.
do a fundraiser for anything, whether it's a golf outing, Top Golf. Right, I went to the fire marshal one recently. There's been shotgun shootings, gun shoot things. Pretty much anything you can think of. Comedy shows.
We just started doing
Raffles, big bucks bonanzas, right? Mega bucks and all these things. You could raffle off TVs, coolers, whatever. Some people walk door to door. Some people have spaghetti dinners or car washes. There's always ways to raise funds. Find something that works and do it. My company did Christmas tree sales one year, just on a whim. We're like, let's do it.
That's what somebody... So they wrote...
So we did a Christmas tree sales, and it took effort. There's no doubt about it.
So this is...
And
what
we
this-
made like
this is what-
$4,500 in 2 weeks.
Oh, I bet.
Like,
got a heavy
boom.
rescue right now.
What's that?
I got a heavy rescue right now.
But there's
take it in.
departments that
Sitting
do
here.
even better than that.
So somebody wrote, we have the classics out there, like the flower sales or Christmas trees or clam bakes. I've seen more places running miniature golf outings lately.
Yep.
They ran one about 15 years ago with decent success, complete with cap gun start and feast of mini foods, blah, blah, blah. I've seen departments host local pro wrestling companies for a night.
No, we did that years ago.
I went to they called it dwarf wrestling
Oh, God.
at Napper Tandy's in Smithtown, and it was bonkers. It was really, really something else to watch.
It's going to be different in different parts of the country, too.
Fall festivals, country nights, paint and sip events.
Yep.
Trunk or treat.
Yep.
So there's a million things, but we would
They
do
had that,
the
one of the departments of the ladies auxiliary was doing that psychic guy, what the heck's his name? He's on the radio and stuff.
John Edwards.
No, Jeffrey Wands or whatever his
Never
name
heard.
is. They do like that, come in, he's like a psychic.
Yeah.
But there's so many things. Like the comedy shows are very easy, right? A lot of these things, you don't have to do much.
Yeah,
And
but
then
the
there's
thing
others
is,
that are very involved.
There's others that are very involved, and good catch.
Pumpkin sales, Christmas tree
We
sales.
did every year the cornhole tournament.
Yep.
So when we first started it, we just put it out there. All of a sudden, broop, roster filled up. All these cornhole teams. The problem was there's ringers out there.
Oh,
people
yeah.
that
They go around to these things.
and they seek these things out.
Yep.
And they smoke every team that's there so they can collect money at the end. So we had to be weary of that. The next couple of years we did it, like these teams would sign up. We're like, you can't, because we're trying to make this fun for everyone, give everyone a fair shot of winning a couple grand. And these idiots were coming in here with their own fucking bags and just literally
Some people love
ruining everyone's
cornhole.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Some
mean,
people are
it's fun.
crazy
I
about
mean, that was a good fundraiser.
I mean, you know,
Look at
like
Thibodeau.
the Fire Riders, the New York City Fire Riders, the motorcycle club, we raffle a motorcycle off every year,
Yeah, like
which is
big,
a really cool
yeah.
one. Rocky Point Fire Department, they raffle off a classic car every year. Car with
That's
30,
pretty
40, or
sick.
50 grand, you know, but, and then they do like the Mega Bucks bonanza.
Wait,
with
what
money.
is Central Islip Fire Department do? Don't they do the cow thing? It's like a big grid, and the cow walks around. People like
Bet
put
on
money-
a,
bet on
bet
where
a,
which
bet a, on
which
a cow?
Yeah, no, they bet where it's gonna
That's the
shit.
first time I heard
Oh
of that.
my God.
Wait, say it again.
That's
What's
crazy.
gonna-
Crazy.
Yeah, there's like a grid in like a pen, and each like box is numbered.
You bet
and
on a
people
box?
bet on where the cow's gonna shit in
That's
that box.
crazy.
And I don't know how it works, and I could be wrong.
How
at
often
that.
do they shit? You
I
stand around
guess
for a couple
maybe they
hours.
like feed them fucking laxative or some shit like that. But
That's crazy.
I don't know.
That's just luck of the draw, though.
And then you get to
Yeah.
take the cow home when you win.
yeah, right.
But
Please cut it up
there's
for you
so
right
many
there.
different raffles you can do. You know, I've seen liquor raffles, gun raffles. You know, there's so much stuff. I just saw one today. It was a couple days old, but it was I forget where it was, somewhere across the country. But it was like they raffled off all sorts of handguns and shotguns, and you know that's not great in every community because some communities will be totally against stuff like that.
yeah.
But in rural America, that works. You know,
But it also-
chicken dinners.
It also depends on
lobster
what
stuff.
level you're doing it at. Is it at a company level or is that a department level?
Correct.
Because departments have certain fundraisers. You had mentioned the
There's
one
certain
with
rules
the
too.
yeah, and then you look at something like Thibodeau, Louisiana, that they've had this fair going on
Yeah.
since before Mardi Gras, and that's just what like the entire community
Yeah.
lives for that shit.
Well, that's like
They make the-
Green Lawn. Green Lawn has the Labor Day weekend fair.
Yeah, the Fireman's
That's
Fair.
a huge fair. You know, like there's a lot of big fairs out there, and when you go outside of Long Island, there's a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, there's so many different things. You can basically raffle anything these days, and especially with social media. I mean, you could spread it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and everything, and you'll get people across the country buying tickets.
Yeah, absolutely.
So don't be afraid to do a raffle. Just you better be able to maintain it. And with any raffle, you know, and I stress this a lot, financials are huge. Tracking, making sure people aren't stealing money, whether it's a mailing, whether it's a car show, whatever it is you're going to do. Make sure you have proper checks and balances. Make sure not one or two people are just handling all the money. Make sure there's a full tracking of every expense back and forth or what you bring in. You have to track this stuff because, you know, I hate to say it, whether you're paid, volunteer, anywhere, there's always somebody going to jail somewhere for stealing money
Yep.
out of a volunteer or paid organization. So don't get caught up in that crap and make sure you have a good plan in place. But it can turn into a big shit show.
There's that angle, and there's also like the scammers that'll sell like
Oh, yeah, that
fire
too.
department merchandise. Like it's not through
Oh,
the,
T-shirts and
they'll,
stuff like that.
scam,
Yep.
or they'll try and solicit. I think I was actually just reading something about Tarrytown in Westchester. I think it was they're trying to collect like donations.
Oh yes, yep.
You know, I don't
That
know,
happened
ma-
around here too.
Yeah, it's
a couple
I think
years
it's
back.
Smithtown, some with shirts or donations or something,
I think it was the fund drive
or fund drive. Yeah.
that people were soliciting.
Yeah, they were
houses
sending
or
letters
putting-
out.
yeah,
You know, like
letters.
the fire departments usually send out letters, and you know, we've had problems where they've come across lines because you hire an outside company and they just run the zip code. You know, like my district, I think there's 6 or 7 zip codes
within the district.
within my district, and you know that could also be from another district. So when you hire these companies, you have to give them a correct map that they're giving to your fire district.
Right.
So you know there are a lot of issues that are out there, but yes, there's always people trying to scam the system.
Yeah, and also too, like if you're looking for ideas like that, go on Facebook. We have the Volley House group. You can join that, and it's kind of an open forum for volunteer departments to talk back and forth,
Unless we ban you.
unless we ban you.
But yes, and we're trying to figure out ways that we can help organizations out there. We might even make a page on our website
Yep.
where you can post your fundraiser. We're going to see how that goes as we start to evolve down the line as the Valley House podcast.
Next one. Pros and cons of switching from generator-powered tools to electric. For example, K-12, chainsaws, extrication equipment. So I don't know much about the chainsaws, like electric chainsaws and stuff
the
like that.
electric chainsaws, they rip.
Yeah.
I think
good
they're
and
really
bad.
good. Yeah.
Does it Hot Dog use them?
We have Milwaukee's. They're not that big. They're maybe 16 inches,
Okay.
but they fucking rip. Like,
You got to be very careful with those chainsaws. Any chainsaw, really.
but they really cut well. And I think at Milwaukee advertises you can cut like 28 telephone poles on a battery, like just for comparison.
Yeah, until the battery starts draining out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like on the extrication side of things. Like obviously, all these different brands have come out with their electric or battery operated tools, which there's pros and cons to all of them. Like I dealt with the Homatro series, the Pentheon tools, which I thought were great because the battery was round. It wasn't like a bulky battery, so there wasn't like that. What do you call it? Like the balance?
Balance.
Yeah, like the balance. But the downside to that is it's a proprietary battery. So if those batteries shit the bed, well, now you have to go buy like another $1,500 battery, and it also comes down to maintenance as well.
What I'll say about a lot of this stuff is don't just listen to people on what is the best product out there, or this department uses it, so we're going to buy it. I would try them all out. We did a lot of testing in the city on different types of tools, and most of the FDNY trucks all use the Hearst. SOC, when we evaluated it, we all went with the Genesis. And, I wanted to buy them for my department because, I think they're great. So they said, well, let's test them out. So we brought all the companies in, let everybody try it, and they selected Genesis. Because of the balance, it wasn't a proprietary battery. You could put Milwaukee batteries on it. There was a lot of different reasons and factors. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. Some may work out better for you or your department for whatever the situation, the way it fits in a compartment, the way you hold it, the way you do things. That's got to be a personal preference. You got to decide, or a group of people within your department to decide what works for your department. Okay. But, there's so many different brands out there, and they're going to continue to change. So whether, like we have some DeWalt stuff, we have some Milwaukee stuff, we have Husqvarna stuff in battery now. So as technology evolves, things are going to change. And I'm not saying hydraulic tools still are not good. They still have their place for certain things. But most of these battery tools are just as powerful or more powerful than the hydraulic. And you don't have any lines attached to them, which is nice. You can move them around a lot easier. So if you can afford them, which is another factor, whether you can get grant money or your department can buy them. But try and figure out what's going to work for you, and then go with that. But it's gonna change. And if you're not using these tools a lot, technology is moving so fast now. It's not the way it used to be.
So that was going to be like my one warning, just from having worked in this industry, is take a look at each company, each manufacturer, and look into how often they update the technology. Because if you do get something, say, that's on its way out, and you buy that, and it's got something proprietary, whether it's a part or a battery or something like that,
Will they maintain it over time?
And they're going to stop eventually making that part or that battery, which you're going to get only a certain amount of use out of it before, these batteries don't work as well as they used to, or,
Correct.
This blade is starting to wear out and we need new ones. They don't make them anymore. And now you're kind of fucked, and you got to look for the next series or another set. And I know a couple years back when we got the rescue pumpers, we looked into the battery operated tools, but ultimately the district decided to do just a generator, not hooked up to the truck, like a portable generator that you hook the tools up for, like the car accidents into the woods or whatever, if you couldn't get the lines from the truck down there. So that's another option as well.
So all our engines now are fully outfitted with a cutter, spreader, and a ram Genesis. So we have tools everywhere. Our main rescue truck still has the hydraulic. And then our ladder trucks each have combi tools on them. So we have battery tools across. Anybody can wind up
You
cutting.
guys use all Genesis?
What's that?
You use all Genesis?
Yeah. The hydraulics are the Homatro. That's what we had We've had them for years. But, you know, they have every option available on our rigs. We're lucky that we had the money and we were able to do it. Not everybody's going to be able to do that. So it's got to be what works for your department. It's
The
not
other
gonna
thing
work
too,
for every
like you just
department.
mentioned, the combi tool. Like if you're a department that doesn't have a budget to get a whole set of tools, because I mean, they could go upwards of like 30 grand for a whole outfit. And I'm sure it's much higher now, but if you are running the hydraulic lines from your truck, maybe focus on a combi tool that's got the battery. Start with that. Get a feel for that, and then maybe as time goes on, make your decisions there.
You got to be careful. And, you know, like I said, the technology is going to change a lot faster than our budgets are going to be able to change.
Yep.
So, you want something that's going to be able to last and work. And most of the time, they're going to. You know, we're not using our tools every single day.
Right.
I mean, you know, there are departments that are busy. We have a lot of accidents. We have highways, and there's a lot of stuff. Our tools get some action. But, you know, when we look at any type of technology, for example, meters, you know, hazmat type meters or 4-gas meters, they're changing so fast now, the technology, and then eventually they're not going to support being able to be fixed anymore. And like you said before, that's going on. You know, same thing with radios now. The technology is changing so quick. So MDT, stuff like that. So you got a budget for this stuff, unfortunately. And you got to figure out what's going to work.
Right.
Definitely more difficult for the departments. Like, I don't know. I guess we're very spoiled here.
We are.
It's
We are
insane.
spoiled.
You know, once you go, I guess like Westchester and North, or outside of just big metro like city areas, like our equipment here, like I've never had a problem because we just always have the newest thing.
It's so insane. It really is.
And I mean, we don't get everything we want. I mean, it's not like it's a free for all either. You know, things cost money, and if it's not budgeted or, you know, it's not really needed, like, you know, we're pretty well outfitted because we bought new engines and we outfitted them fully when we bought them.
right, yep.
Then we bought a ladder. Then we bought the other ladder. So now those are fully outfitted. Like, there's not much more we need. You know, I mean, there are some things that got to be upgraded. Like we're doing that now. You know,
You had showed me your engine when we did that arch detail
Yeah.
together. Did you ever see his setup?
I don't think so.
It's fucking
set up.
solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I
a
gotta-
rescue truck and an engine.
Yeah.
combined.
Check it out.
Well, the thing is, you don't know, you know, especially in the volunteer service, you don't know who's going to come out. Like, we may only get one engine on the road, and you got to be able to operate in any type of situation. So we wanted to make sure that the rigs can operate. If that one rig goes out there, or sometimes we have multiple things going on. We could have 2 accidents or 3 accidents at the same time. So we wanted to ensure that wherever they go, whatever, they can handle the situation.
Yeah, no, it's smart.
So, you know, not everybody can do that, but we're in good shape. But like right now, we're upgrading some tech rescue stuff, some of our rope stuff, some new harnesses. We're buying we just bought 2 new inflatable boats. The boat that we had on our rescue truck, you know, it got damaged and it's just old. It just needs replacement. So, you know, luckily we had some money left in the budget and we were able to buy, we actually bought 2. We replaced 2 of them, and then we're going to keep a spare when, you know, if something happens.
Right.
So, but we do a lot of water. We have 29 miles of waterfront, you know, not including some of the lakes and stuff we have and the flooding. So, you know, you have to be, we're supposed to be all hazards agencies. That's really what we are. And, you know, we can't do everything. We can't train fully in everything, you know, but we got to be able to handle as much as we can.
Absolutely. Chauffeur qualifications. So
Super important.
super important, and I think there's a lot of departments do things a lot differently.
I can tell you firsthand, going around and doing some of the consulting work I do, it's very different in a lot of different places. And, you know, I'm sure across the country, it's even more drastic. Driving is one of the most important things we do because we have to be able to arrive safely on scene. And we have to maintain our apparatus as well, so you should understand. Now, in New York State, you do not have to have a CDL in order to
Correct.
drive these trucks. And they are trucks, you know, and you should have something very close to or similar to CDL type training. And I'm not saying to the full gamut, but very close. I believe it's California is one of the states that requires emergency vehicle operators,
The EVOC?
whether police or fire, to have CDLs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I believe California is one of them. There's a couple states, I believe, that do it. You do have to understand that if you do have a CDL, a lot changes. So, if you are one of these chiefs or commissioners out there that want to make your members go through CDL training, just understand everything changes. Your alcohol limits change, even if you're driving your personal car. If you get into accident, you're held to a higher standard because you have more training. So, and if you get in a bad wreck and you did not follow the rules of the road, you can lose your CDL and you can lose your job on the outside if you're a CDL driver. So,
A CDL is a federally issued license, right?
it's it's state, but it's kind of like
Federally
federal
regulated.
guidelines. But if you really look at CDL guidelines, and I don't know all of them, I read through some of it. I did some looking into this because we had a chief years ago when I was on the board approached us about sending members to CDL if they wanted, and I looked into some of it, talked to some people, and they all said the same thing. You better be very careful going down that road. So we wound up not doing it because it does cost money too. And my hat's off to anybody that does go and get a CDL if you want to do that, stuff like that. But you got to be very careful. You're supposed to do a pre-check before you drive a truck. So there's a lot to it. The FDNY has an excellent program of training their chauffeurs. And they go through everything, like how to, basically check every part of the rig. And, we don't do it anymore, but they used to show you how to adjust brakes and crazy stuff. But there's a lot to it. So you should get a definitive driver training program. And there's a lot of them out there. EVOC is a big help. Driver safety is a big help. But driver safety sometimes isn't exactly what you think it is. But the EVOC course does go through driving and cone courses, stuff like that, which is very important. There are other programs out there. Insurance companies do have them, like VFIS has a emergency vehicle driver operator training program. There's an instructor program and a regular driver program. There are other insurance companies and agencies that run these programs, but they're professional driving programs. And if you can get your staff and your drivers to go through programs like that, it is very beneficial to you and to your organization.
Let me ask you this: what is FDNY's qualification for it? Like, do you have to have a certain amount of hours, driving hours?
So there's, and it changes from time to time. The ladder chauffeur class is a 1-week class. The engine chauffeur class is a 2-week class, because they do driving and pumping.
Right.
Where the ladders don't do the pumping. But the ladder chauffeurs, when you go to ladder chauffeur training, you're trained to drive a rear mount straight stick, a tiller, and tower ladders. All three types of rigs.
All at once?
Yeah, you
Or
do them
not at once,
all of them. And then the engine chauffeur school, obviously driving and then pumping and operating and going through problems. So you get tested on problems.
The reason I ask, because I know
how to fix problems.
just going through some of these courses that I did to become a qualified engine chauffeur, it was 20 hours of driving. Mm-hmm. So you needed to log 20 hours of driving. The way it worked was you were not to go out after dark, and you had to, anytime you went out for training, you had to have a full crew with you, and with another chauffeur, obviously, that can hop in if call comes in. Certain things, like you start off with the cones in the parking lot, then we would go up on hills. I had to park the truck, on a hill, put the, what do you call it? The things under the wheel. I'm having a brain fart.
Chocks.
The chocks, Jesus. And then it was 10 hours of pumping. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to, and usually when you did it, you'd go drive to a parking lot, something like that, hop into a hydrant, start pumping, flowing water, and they would start throwing all different issues at you. So they'd have you running a master stream, deck gun, and 2 lines out. And they'd say,
Actually
okay,
just
like,
redid
you know, you gotta watch your gauges. Then somebody would kill the hydrant on you. And all of a sudden the truck would just start ripping up, you know, the RPMs would go crazy. And now it's like, okay, what's priority here? And at the end, there's a few people within the department that are responsible for qualifying chauffeurs. So I don't know if those guys have certain qualifications that they can give people the go ahead to drive, but those people would take you out for the overall test. Go out driving, show them how to, whatever you do with driving, however your district's laid out, and how well you do with pumping. And if you were good with that, you're signed off, ready to go. So I'm sure, again, a lot of people do it differently. You know, we talked
I'm
about
telling you,
before,
I've read
continued
policies.
education.
I've read policies all across Long Island, and I could tell you a lot of departments. There are some that are very similar, and there's a lot that are very different, and extremely different. And you know, you should get that squared away. You should look up NFPA. You should look up driver training programs. You should do your homework. You should do your research. I mean, if somebody gets into a bad accident, they are pulling all your training records.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to find out exactly what you were trained to do, how you were taught to drive. They're gonna rip things apart, especially if, God forbid, you kill somebody. So, you know, there's been some really bad accidents lately, but you should be squared away. And you're not indemnified. When you're a chauffeur, you're not just fully indemnified. Your department, you know, yeah, there's certain protections. There's a lot on you as the chauffeur and the officer
was
sitting in
gonna
that
say,
front
and as
seat.
the officer.
So, you know, there's a lot of responsibility there that people don't really understand. And you have to drive with due regard. You have to be safe, because they will come after you. So, like you said, there's a lot of different procedures out there or policies of how to do things. There's a lot of sample SOPs. You know, there should be a written test. There should be check sheets. There should be documentation of every bit of training that you do, and it should be on file. But you got to make sure that you know what you're doing, because that mistake happens and the wrong mistake happens. You
all
got
it
big
takes.
problems. So get yourself squared away. If you're a chauffeur, you know, you should be practicing on a regular basis. It's not, you should have refresher courses, but continual training is very, very important when you're a chauffeur.
I just remade our qualification and requal sheets for the ladder and the rescue truck. I made a whole route for requal. You basically start at headquarters. I cover the entire town, and every single thing that truck is capable of doing, you have to do. So you start like at headquarters, so I'm like in the middle of the district.
And a lot of people don't know what the trucks can do. That's part of the problem.
I cover everything. Like with our ladder truck, you got to drive it to the east end of town. Stupid stuff too, like merging on the expressway. It's part of being qualified.
Yeah.
You know, it may be a simple thing once you drive for a while, but you get on, you go all the way downtown or east in town, get on the expressway, get off the expressway, go to a certain building that we always train at. It has like this slalom of trees. You got to do it
Yeah, I know which
forwards.
one
You
you're
got to do
talking
it
about.
backwards. You got to set the ladder up. You got to break it down using override only. So instead of like setting up with
Emergency
normal controls,
procedure.
all emergency breakdown, go back to headquarters. And then, well, I cover a few other neighborhoods as well, just because there's like certain tight spots that are like, if you don't know, it's like, if you don't know, you don't know. Like, I know that at a certain intersection in the bird section right here, if you take the corner too tight, the trees actually lean into the road, especially with a ladder truck. So, you know, you got to swing a little wider. So I hit all areas like that, and then you get back to headquarters, and you got to back in, because we pull around, we don't back in.
And I'm sure you probably had to rewrite a whole new thing for the new rescue.
Yeah, the new rescue, it's really just, I mean, like driving's the same. There's just so much shit on that truck. Like,
Right.
so it's more so just, you know, being a chauffeur, like the way that I was trained and like we continue to train is that if you're a chauffeur, you're the master of everything. Like there's nothing on that truck that you don't know how it works, and you can't train someone on how to use it. So it's just a lot of equipment with the new rescue.
Right.
So, I mean, the old one had a ton too, but it's just new, so I had to rewrite it.
I mean, you know, driving in general, though, you really need to know the dynamics of the vehicle. You know, you need to know what response guidelines are. You need to know what the state laws are. Like, you know, rollover protection, you know, like how fast take turns, stuff like that. You know, you need to know everything about that apparatus, and you got to be able to be comfortable in driving it. If you're not comfortable, you're not comfortable.
That's a big thing.
You know,
And I
like
like
one of
to-
the things I do, and I don't train that many people, but, you know, even when I'm training chauffeurs, you know, I take a plastic bag. I might have said this before, but I keep it in my pocket. And I have, you know, I said, all right, hook up to the hydrant. I'll take them out back, hook up to the hydrant. So whichever end they take, whether it's the chauffeur, you know, the pump side or the hydrant, whichever one I take, I go, I'll hook up the other side. And I take the plastic bag and I stuff it in there.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
I put it on the hydrant. And then I make them start off tank water. And then eventually I have them switch to hydrant water. And the bag sucks up onto the screen and they lose water. And I'm like, all right, what's the problem? Fix it. You know, like, and I go through that procedure because, you know, it's not just about pumping a truck. You have to know that if something goes wrong, how to handle it and fix it.
Oh, 100%.
And
That's-
quickly. And that's the part where a lot of people skip, you know, like, all right, anybody can pump a truck. I mean, really, it's not hard.
That's one of the things with the new sheets I just created. A lot of it, especially with the rescue truck, was knowing how to troubleshoot when things don't work.
Correct.
Because everything's electric now. We have an AC/DC inverter that changes all the controls all over the truck. You got to be able to, not that it's a difficult thing to do, but you got to know where to look. Like we have 2 fuse boxes, we have the 220 reels that run off the generator, and then we have these AC/DC inverters that run other outlets, and it's like just like all this little stuff that if you just don't drive it enough or you just don't know, you're not gonna know.
Well,
Yeah, but if
that's-
you have a problem, like, how do you fix it?
I was just
You
gonna
know?
say, like, that's one of the big things. Like, people think chauffeur qualifications. A lot of it's just about like the driving.
Driving, yeah.
aspect.
People are like, oh, I could drive that.
Yeah,
thing.
but like
No one
when it
cares
comes
if
to
you can drive.
like when it comes to pumping, especially in like the first couple minutes of a working fire, when you have guys inside with a hose line, you lose water. Like those guys are depending on you
Yep.
to keep that water
Yep.
going. You so with all the shit going on, paying attention to the gauges, you got to be paying attention to all sorts of different radio traffic.
You got to be
units
able to
coming in
handle
yeah.
any situation that comes to you. You know, it's really when you pull up as an engine chauffeur, it's 5 minutes of chaos,
Yep.
right? Guys are stretching lines, you're putting it in pumps. You know, you got to make sure it's in pumps. You know, if water doesn't flow, make sure you go back into the cabin, make sure you put it in drive and everything. Like you got to go through these procedures, right? The second due engine, you know, is more of like that water resource to make sure that everything's right for the first due. That's really what their job is, and then to back up that first due. So when we look at that, there's also, you know, the studies are out there. There's a lot of studies that are out there now about a lot of different stuff. But like UL did the study. Flow and go from front door all the way to the fire room, you can put out a 1 to 2 bedroom fire or 1 to 2 room fire with 300 gallons or less. And basically, that's exactly what happened last night at our fire.
Right.
We have 750 gallons. They stretched the line. They stretched the backup line. They went in there, put the fire out. They had the fire knocked down and mostly totally extinguished. And they were still at a half a tank. Like, you know, you can put out a lot of fire if you use the water appropriately.
Where was that engine parked? Just right out front?
Yeah, it was probably 80 feet off the street, though, you know.
And
It was-
the
it was
other
pretty
thing
far.
too, Kevin,
So-
you talked about this a while ago, or not a while ago, it was just a few episodes ago, but when you basically lay out a standard residential house and how much hose you need in that house to go either or upstairs,
Usually
That's
about
a-
50 feet.
that's another thing
Or less.
for chauffeurs to understand, especially people that don't have pre-connects and most people don't nowadays. It's now you're pulling that.
No, I
that
think
hose
a
off.
lot of people have pre-connects.
I
I mean, last night they stretched the working line off the back, which is just a dead bed.
Right.
Because it was a long stretch.
But you probably have,
Our
what,
cross
cross-lays?
lays,
Yeah,
our
cross lays are
cross lays are
pre-connected.
pre-connected 200 feet. We have 200 feet in the front bumper as well. We've cut it down, but there's 200 feet of hose
Which I think
available.
is fairly standard
Yes.
with the cross lays.
Yes.
But
you know, when you look at most residential, and it could be different across, obviously depending on where you are, but in most developments on Long Island, you're 40 to 60 feet off the street. And the biggest problem people have, I think, is estimating how much hose you need
100%.
and your distances. So, for example, 3 car lengths is 1 length of hose, basically. So if you have a driveway that fits 3 cars in it, all right, or you see 3 cars stacked up in a driveway, that's 50 feet. A car is about 15 to 16 feet long, a regular car, not a extended pickup truck or something like that, but 15 to 16 feet.
Like your
So
Grand Cherokee size car.
About 16 feet.
Yeah.
A Honda Accord, 16 feet. So, you can measure your car out, but 3 car lengths with a little space in between, or a foot in between is about 50 feet. So when you look at most homes, you're usually 50 feet from the front door. And now some of them are different. Like the one we had last night, it was probably 80 to 90 feet. And it was up on a hill. So, different story. So you want to make sure you have appropriate hose. But even if they stretched a cross lay there with a 200 feet pre-connect, they would have had enough hose. They had a little bit of loop in the front door, and the coupling was right there, the 50-foot coupling. And they were able to get up the stairs, and it was literally right at the top of the stairs. But when you break down most homes, they're about 20 to 40, 20 to 50, or 25 by 50, somewhere in that range. So, it's 25 feet to the rear. And if you go left or right, if the door's in the middle, it's 25 feet in each direction. So that's less than one length of hose in most homes.
I'm just saying from
unless it's a big
chauffeur's
house, basement, stuff like that.
Yeah, and from a chauffeur's perspective too, just understanding how many lengths put out there. Has that been communicated? Because a lot of nowadays on the trucks, you just have the preset, which is set to a specific.
You have to adjust it.
Your 200 feet of hose.
Correct.
That's what it's set for. But if you're pulling off the back, and what you mentioned before,
You got to know how many lengths you have.
and what type of lengths you have. Like you
Correct.
have the dead lave of deuce and a half, or was it the
We have 1 3/4 and then 2 1/4 under
and
it.
2 1/4?
Yeah.
That's what it was. So yeah, you have those two. So friction loss is a little bit different. So
Depending on
there's
how
a
long you
lot of-
stretch it. There's so many factors,
Exactly.
If it's a long driveway and you pull the engine in the driveway and you're only 50 feet from the front door, you shouldn't be stretching 200 feet. If I'm next to the house, and you go to a lot of these fires and you see all this hose all over the front lawn because they stretched the pre-connect and they only really needed 150 feet and they had 200, or they only needed 100 and they had 200 feet out. So you got to be very careful with this. But I break houses down into quadrants and stuff, and when I teach, in wherever. We could go over it one day here, maybe on a whiteboard, but how I break a house down, how to do estimations of stretches or how much hose you need. But it's also good for your own situational awareness when you go in to do a search, like how big or how far you're traveling. And when we look at firefighter fatalities, most happen in residential structures if they die in a fire. And most of the time, they're 8 to 10 feet from a door or window. And to think that you're 8 to 10 feet from a door or window and still get killed is very difficult. Now, you're trapped, you ran out of air, stuff like that, I can understand. But you should be able to get yourself to a door or window and get out.
Right.
But it's always a problem.
So we have a couple more. I just don't think we're gonna be able to get into
yeah,
all of them
we're
because
over an hour
ready
already.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, Phil's hungry. He's got to eat.
You're hangry?
Yeah.
Not hungry yet. Give me another. Give me 20
About to
minutes.
be-
Give me 20 minutes.
Shorter than that, you can fill 20 seconds.
You got one
and
more
be
quick
hangry.
one, maybe? Or?
How about cowardice in the fire service? Was another one. And
This could take an hour.
I know.
I could go off on
That's what I'm looking at.
I could go off on a tangent on this one, bro. I hate to tell you.
Yeah,
Maybe we save that one for next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of cowards out there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
That's going to be a long, and the one after that's another long one.
Yeah.
So
I
just
think we
maybe
saved that
just
for another day.
Wrap this fucking thing
Good
up.
length, hour.
Huh?
It's good length, hour and 8.
You want to go another hour?
No.
he doesn't. Phil does not want to go another hour. But listen. What I'll say, just on a short end of this thing is, I'm going to try to keep it short. I know I talk a lot, but you signed up to do a job, and unfortunately, we're going to risk our lives, and we have to do the job. Regardless of what you have to do the job. And if you're not mentally or physically prepared to do that, you need to get that into your head, and you got to be able to do it. And if you're not, then maybe this isn't for you. But I'll just leave it at that for now. But you got to step up, and you got to do the job. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
We're here to save lives, protect property.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up. Episode 39.
Excellent.
That's a
Out.
lot. 39.
Yep.
Oh, my computer's freezing up.